What's up?
How important was pre-snap communication in this past game in particular, in the secondary with Slay sometimes following Diggs and sometimes not?
Yeah, it was critical. It was critical. I think the Coach McDonald, Coach Williams, and Coach Johnson did a great job preparing those guys for those situations, and from the middle of the defense all the way out, the players did a really good job of executing and trying to get everybody lined up and get us into some of the packages and the calls that we had.
Sean, a lot of guys played like career high snap counts in that game. Reed played 95 snaps on defense and 21 on special teams. How does a guy do that? What enables him to do that and still play at a high level late in the game?
Yeah, I think it just shows you the kind of the character and the grit of him and really all of our guys, of the way they've prepared their minds and their bodies for a game like that. And that rep count is an anomaly, and we obviously don't want to be up there at those reps, and we got to do a better job of getting off the field in some of those situations. But it's really a credit to our guys and our support staff, the strength staff, for preparing our guys and having them conditioned to be in a game like that. And it was great to come out of that game with a victory like that.
What's the let me just follow. You said physical and mental. What's the mental aspect of playing that many reps?
Yeah, I think it's just fatigue. These games are wearing. They're 3+ hours, and the guys put their bodies on the line, and they do it at such a high level, and they're such physical. They're playing such a physical brand of football, which is what we want to do. And for them to be able to stay locked into the tendencies, stay locked into the formation, stay locked into our calls, is a tremendous. It's really an accomplishment of those guys and their preparation for our players.
It seems like the fifth time this season that
Along those lines, like Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis both shattered their career highs in snaps. Davis obviously made that big play, in overtime and everything. Just about like those two guys and how they kind of got through that game and everything.
Yeah, I think it was a function of again, Coach Rocker preparing those guys and being ready for that moment, and the way that game went. We had some guys go down in that game, and so they took on the reins and they took the ownership of that. They knew that they were going to have to play a little bit more because of that, because the rotation got a little bit jammed up there, and so they did it, and they took ownership of it. They owned it, and they went out and did the best they could to help us win that game.
It seems like the fifth time this year that we asked you how you're deploying Slay against a particular wide receiver, but whether it was Justin Jefferson, the first half, second half against Cooper Kupp, you changed it. Against CeeDee Lamb, you had an approach, obviously, this past week. What dictates on a week-to-week basis how you're going to deploy him? Yeah,
I think it's really our staff. We get together and we talk about the game plan and talk about our matchups and figure out what calls we have and what we feel puts our players in the best position to go make plays and execute. Not compromising what we want to do, not compromising our brand of football and the style that we want to play, and then try to really integrate that each week, and then finding all the matchups with Slay, JB, whoever is on the field, trying to find where we think we can be optimizing those high leverage situations.
Kind of along those lines, how much of a challenge are the 49ers, to match up against with how versatile their offense is?
Yeah, they're very challenging. They've got a lot of great skilled players there, and I think Coach Shanahan does a tremendous job with the scheme and putting those guys in positions to make plays. So they'll present a really good challenge for us, and I think our guys will be, as a staff and the players, we're looking forward to that challenge.
So what were some of the issues on third down, especially third and longs?
Yeah, I think it comes down to a lot of things. It always starts with me, trying to put them in different calls and get our guys in better positions to make some plays. And give credit to them. They did a good job. The quarterback did a good job of extending some plays and making some courageous throws and some tight windows, and then even converting a couple with his feet, And so I think it's a function of everything. It's a function of me putting our guys in better positions and then our guys executing and straining a little bit longer when you play a quarterback like that, and it's a good experience because that's what will help mitigate some of our rep counts too, is getting off the field in those critical situations.
With Jordan Davis is a great inside guy, but it was surprising to see him get to the sideline that fast. Did that amaze you?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I would say it amazed me because we've seen him do it in practice, and through training camp and everything, we've seen him go cut it loose and try to run, and there's a certain way that we like to practice, and it's with speed and it's with physicality, and when we get our opportunities to do it on the practice field, we try to emphasize it for everybody, and he's a part of that. And like I said, Coach Rocker has done a tremendous job setting that tempo, and the vets in that room have done a tremendous job. Starting with Fletcher Cox and the way he practices and BG, those guys practice at that tempo, so there's a certain standard that we want to uphold there.
From a general standpoint, getting back to the reps, and I know it was an anomaly, as you said, there's rotational positions, non-rotational positions. You no longer have Derek at edge. Do you want to get that fourth guy involved, just from a general perspective?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. It's something that we kind of talk about every week in terms of how and what we'll do. And we do want to continue to rotate guys and keep our guys fresh through the end of the half and through the end of a game, and really this latter part of the season here. So we want to try to do that as best we can, and we'll have a good plan of that going forward.
With the injuries you've had at line, with the injuries you've had.
Look, given what happened in the game last year, do you spend much time looking at the 49ers tape from that game because of how weird the game got after the two quarterbacks go out?
Yeah, I mean, we look at everything, and that's our job as coaches, to make sure we're prepared for everything and trying to do our research and digging and trying to find everything. And I mean, they still have to play some offense, and they're still trying to go win that game. And so, yeah, we do. We look at everything.
The injuries you've had at linebacker, how do you assess that group? How do you feel Ellis played, and what are the conversations you have with Nick and others in the organization about what you can do with that position?
Yeah, I think we feel good about the guys that we have. I think the guys that we have, we've trained at a high level. I know Nick and Howie, they always collaborate, and they're always kind of looking at all the time. But with the guys that we have, we feel good about, and those guys did a good job going in the game. Christian Ellis did a good job helping us close out that game, and Nick did a great job. Obviously, had to play some multiple spots in that game for us with Zach going down, and he did a great job and continues to do a great job as a communicator and getting our guys set there.
What are the things about Brock Purdy that concern you, keep you up at night?
I think Brock's playing at a really high level. He's really efficient with the ball, getting the ball out in rhythm and timing to his receivers. I think they do a good job mixing the run and pass, and Brock really runs that offense really well, and he's feeling really comfortable doing that. He's slippery. He's a little bit quick and can be evasive in the pocket, and he keeps his eyes upfield and is able to target some explosives downfield that way too. So we'll have to have a good plan of corralling him, and then getting tight to some of these routes so we can contest some of these throws that they throw.
In your experience elsewhere in the league, how unique is the way you guys handle your Wednesday practices, in particular doing walkthroughs, and how does that factor into the increased snap counts you might see on Sundays?
How unique is it? Well, I think every head coach that I've been a part of has a kind of way that they manage their Wednesdays and Thursdays differently. And so I think here we do it tremendously. I think that it's been proven of how we've done it, and it's been a certain model that we abide by. And I think it's really good because it helps prepare our players and helps keep our players fresh for Sunday. And we still have a high demanding walkthrough where it's really mentally taxing. We want to challenge these guys and get a certain level of speed up until the snap that we want to be able to play with. And I think our guys players and coaches do a great job of buying into that.
What other steps are you taking this week, Sean, to account for that high number of play volume last week?
Yeah, I think we talk with the strength staff, with the head coach and everybody, and we'll get on the same page of what we want to do to manage our guys. And we usually have a great plan about doing that with all of our players. And it's really individually focused on who needs what. And I think we do a great job as an organization communicating that.
When you look at Ben Van Zumeren, he's been elevated 3 times, hasn't really played any snaps on defense. How close is he, if you guys were to obviously add him to the roster, need him, how close is he to being able to contribute at linebacker? What are you seeing from him?
Yeah, he's done a good job. He's done a good job. He's staying really engaged. He's really mastering his role and his craft in this defense and staying on top of it. Coach Elliott does a great job with him. And preparing him. He's taken a lot of the reps, obviously in our developmental periods, and even getting some reps as we manage guys in practice, getting some reps there too. So, if he's a guy that does get elevated because of, like you said, the numbers and everything, then that's great. We'll feel confident in anybody that we got in the team because all those guys prepare like they're ready to play.
With the first 7 games, and you've asked about Slay a couple of times, but seemed really committed as a left corner through those first 7 that he was in. The last, he's been mixed around. Having those 3 games there, what solutions have you found on the other aspects and coverages beyond his matchup in those plays? And what things have you learned from recent games that help you going forward with that?
Well, yeah, I think in terms of the matchups, and obviously with Slay with it, it's really, we're trying to find the best matchups for everybody. And so if that means moving one guy to a certain spot, it affects all the other guys in the coverage. And so it's about getting them lined up. And so that's always a big point as we're scheming and game planning some things is, okay, if we do this and this guy lines up in this spot, well, how does it impact everybody else to get lined up and do their jobs? Do we like the matchups everywhere else? And so that's a lot of what our game plan process goes through. And then we continue that every week, and we decide as a staff what we think is the best for that week. And I think we've had good success doing it both ways, or a lot of different ways, I should say, in this first part of the season. And we're going to continue to lean on that because our guys are prepared for that. You know, our guys have shown that they can take on the roles that we're asking them each week and contribute in a high level to help us go win games.
When it comes
To follow on that quickly, there's been a couple of plays the last couple of games. A drop with the Chiefs with Roby in pursuit, the wheel with, I think it was a Nick in pursuit. Those kind of things, those plays, do you find corrections with those in terms of, like, you know, where Slay's been and how you can pick up, what things did those reveal?
Yeah, those things are just scheme things. You know, I mean, I think we got to put our guys in good positions to play. I don't know if it's necessarily a match thing to a certain side or anything. Those are scheme-related things that we help our guys with, and you know, sometimes they get you on a good call versus a not so good call by me, and then putting our guys in better positions to be able to make those plays. And so I think those are things that, yes, we learn from when we keep evaluating and we keep adjusting our structure to make sure that we put all of our guys in the best positions to go make plays.
You guys
As
give
far
up a
as
lot
the
of
Niners,
your.
We'll get to
saw
both
them
of you.
3 times last year, twice with McCaffrey. The preparation, where does it start?
Say that again, I didn't hear the first part.
The preparation for Niners, where does it start when you kind of begin your prep for the week?
Oh, you know, it kind of always starts for us pretty standard-wise in terms of who we're playing, what their identity is, you know, all their players, and trying to figure out where our matchups are. And then we just go through the tape and the cut-ups and see what they want to be as an identity. And then that's how we're going through that process yesterday and today. And then we'll continue on throughout the week, but really trying to figure out what they're trying to do and then how they're trying to attack us structurally. And then where can we leverage our spots the best we can to help put our guys in the best position to go control the tempo of the game and go win that game.
Just real quick, Josh.
Last one, Jeff, please.
Josh Allen got a lot of scrambling yards last week. You've had a few games, I think Hal maybe. Was that just an anomaly because of Josh being who he is, or is that something that you're trying to kind of tighten in terms of the guy's keys?
Yeah, you know, I think it's a function of both. Again, you got to give Josh credit. You know, he did a good job of getting out some things, you know, where we had some bodies on him. And then, you know, obviously we want to execute better and put our guys in better positions by play call to go corral that pocket and execute and limit some of that scramble plays. And some of those happen. And we're always looking at plays, whether it's a scramble play, not scramble play, whatever it is. We want to make sure that we impact everybody on the field in all different sorts of ways. And Josh, you know, he did a good job of getting out some of those where we had him corralled. And that's learning points for us, and we're going to grow from it. You know, I think that's the exciting things that we can grow from it. And we feel really good about the plans that we put forward.
Sean, what is the key? What is the key to slowing down McCaffrey? I mean, they're faster guys, but he just seems to pick up yards every time he touches the ball.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think you just got to get bodies around him. You know, you got to get different looks, try to impact his route progression from different angles, and put different matchups on him because they do a great job of creating their matchups there. And so we got to be able to have multiple different ways and different angles at which we want to cover them and leverage them. Thanks. Yes. See you guys.